All right, guys, welcome back. So the 2025 World of Outlaws season begins in about a week's time. 1 week from today, you could expect to see trailers and pictures of trailers making their way down to Florida. And then on Wednesday night will be the first race of the season for them, kicking off a very exciting season. They've got 14 full-time drivers, at least as of right now. I'm pretty sure they're done. Hopefully they're done because I'm making this video right now. But we'll see if there's anybody else that joins. But I still think it is a safe time to put this video out. Basically 10 storylines and things like that I think you should follow along with throughout the 2025 season. They are not in any particular order. Number 1 is not the most important. Number 10 is not the least important. It's just a random group of ideas that I think you should be watching for the Outlaws this year. Before I get into it, make sure to hit subscribe. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers, and a lot of my viewers do not subscribe to the channel. It is free to do that, so if you could, that would be awesome. Now, getting into our list here, we'll start at number 1 because that's how things work. We're going to start at number 1, and it's a pretty big deal. I think this is a huge storyline going into the season, and it's going to involve Donnie Shotz. So Donnie Shotz this year is going to have a new crew chief working on the car. The last couple of seasons, it's been Steve Swenson, but this year it's going to be a new guy. The car chief, Todd Devnich, is being promoted to the crew chief. Steve Swenson no longer a part of the team as far as the road team goes. And so Donnie Shotz is going to have a new guy helping him out and making all the setup calls and things like that. How is that going to go? Nobody knows at this point in time. I mean, at least Donnie, is getting a guy that he's worked with for the last couple of years. They know each other well. And so I think that's going to help going into a new season. But will they find success right off the bat? Now, if you look at the last couple of years for Shotz, 2024, 5 wins, a 6.4 average finish, and he was 4th in points, make that 3rd in points. 2023 had 4 wins, a 9.2 average finish, and he had a 6th place in points. 2022, 5 wins, 7.5 average finish, and 4th in points. So looking at those 3 years, 2024 was actually the best of those seasons with a 6.4 average, 3rd in points, 5 wins, a King's Royal. They were doing good things this year, and they were way more consistent. But now they're going to make this relatively monumental change here for Donnie, and we'll see how quickly they're able to gel. Obviously, they've got an incredible notebook behind them, but will they be able to make that happen very, very quickly and get Donnie comfortable and allow him to compete for the championship this year? Because, 3rd in points last year, that's good, but he was over 100 behind David Gravel by the time the season was over in Charlotte. So I think this is a pretty monumental change here for Donnie Shotz, a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, one of the best of all time, in my opinion, and maybe the best ever. So we'll see how it goes for Donnie Shotz. We've got him at number 1 on the list. Now, number 2 is going to involve the defending champion of the series, and that is David Gravel. Can he go back-to-back? Because in the history of the Outlaws, usually when a guy wins a championship, they go on to win 2, 3, 4, 5. Like we saw with Brad Sweet. We've seen Donnie Shotz do it. We've seen Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer do it, right? But there's only been a couple of times where a guy has won a championship and did not win it the very next year. Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinzer, Danny Lasowski, Darren Pittman, just to name a couple of them, right? We know that Kinzer went on to win multiple championships after that, but when he won his first, he did not win that one back-to-back. He had to wait a couple of years to get the next one. And for those other guys, they only won one. They won one and done. I don't think that's the case for David Gravel because he finally got over the hump. He finally did it, accomplished the goal he set out to do when he was a little kid, was to finally win one of these championships. So I think going into next year, he's not going to be as worried about winning that championship. He's not going to have all the nerves that surround that. So I think he's obviously in prime position to do it again. But with a new crew chief for Donnie Shotz, Buddy Kofoid coming into the mix and being very good last year. And our next guy on the list, which is Carson Maso. He is hungry for his championship, but the problem with him is, will he be back at full strength by the time Volusia Speedway Park rolls around next week? That is the big question on a lot of people's minds right now. Carson Maso got injured in Australia, looked like a major leg injury over there, but Jason Johnson Racing posted a picture or a video today on Twitter, and they showed Carson walking around and whatever, but he did not look like he was walking normal, right? I mean, he was still looking like he was laboring that leg a little bit, wasn't exactly looking comfortable walking around, but what are you going to do, man? And what's he going to do? He cannot miss out these first couple of races, or else he's going to be right out of the championship right out the bat. So we'll see if Carson Maso is back to full strength by the time Volusia Speedway Park rolls around next week. Other things with Volusia and Carson Maso, last year, he started off terribly. I mean, it was a horrible start to the year for him. 14th, 12th, 16th, and 14th in the first 4 races of the year. If you combine, I mean, if he has anything like that again, those finishes, Volusia was tough to him, and then you got the leg thing going on, then it's going to be tough for him to bounce back because we do not see David Gravel have issues all that often anymore. I mean, he does maybe 1 DNF a year compared to the last couple of years when he has 4 or 5. So if Carson gets off to a bad start due to this injury, then I think that it's going to be hard for him to rebound and catch back up to David Gravel, who has been very good at Volusia Speedway Park over the last couple of years. I have never driven a sprint car, and I've never driven a sprint car with an injured leg before, so I have no idea how much that affects him going hundreds of miles an hour, bouncing around in the corners and things like that. We've seen Carson race injured before. After that big wreck at Knoxville, he was definitely injured going to Wisconsin and things like that and powered through it. So we'll see if Carson can power through it and continue to show the speed that he had in 2024 at the end of the year. Now, another guy that showed a lot of speed at the end of the year last year is Buddy Kofoid. And the question with him is, can he take that next step in his career as a full-time Outlaw driver? Last year, Buddy Kofoid may have been the best car on the tour for the second half of the season. He had 7 wins. It seemed like he was on the podium every single night. Him and Dylan Buswell, the rest of the team, seem to be gelling very, very well. Buddy's been fast here in the offseason, driving the midget, and I think that he has a ton of confidence going into next year. The problem is, and I know it's his rookie year, and you're going to expect to see things like this happen, but he had 6 DNFs last year. And by the time the season was over, he was 4th in points and 324 behind David Gravel at the end of the year. So if he can clean up those 6 DNFs and maybe fix up a couple of the racetracks he's not good at, instead of finishing 14th, he finishes 9th, then I think that Buddy Kofoid could take that next step and challenge David Gravel all the way down the home stretch when they get to Charlotte, and maybe he could be within 50 points, 60, 70 points by the time the year's over. I think out of everybody on this board, besides Carson Maso, Buddy Kofoid is the next guy to win a World of Outlaws championship. Wouldn't it be something if he did it in year 2, driving that Roth Enterprises number 83 car? Kofoid is definitely one of the main stories to watch for next year. Another story to watch for involving another driver. And can he bounce back? And by the time I was done writing that, and by the time I said it, you probably know who I'm talking about. And it is Logan Shuart. Oh my God, I'm messing things up here. Shuart. Can he bounce back this year? Because last year was nothing short of a failure, I would think. If you're the Shark Racing team, it had to be a failure. You only had 1 win all season long with the Outlaws. He had a couple, in PA and whatnot. But Logan Shuart, 1 win, the least amount since 2016. He was 7th in points. He hasn't finished that bad since 2017. He only had 3 podiums all year, which is tied for the least amounts he's had since 2015. 3 podiums, guys. That's all he had in 1 year. After an incredible 2023 where he won the $1 million race, he did all these great things, he goes into 2024 and kind of lays an egg. I am a big Shuart fan. Don't get me wrong. I think that this year, with a new crew chief coming on board to help him out, this could be what this guy needs. I mean, Shuart is a workhorse, man. He works on his car a ton. He drives the car. He drives outside the track and all that stuff like that with his motorhome and everything. He's a very busy guy when it comes to race season. Maybe having somebody else to take that workload off of him will help a ton. And Shuart, could he get that bounce back and be another top 5 championship contender or top 4? He was 2nd in 2020 in points, so we know that he can have that consistency behind him. But last year, he definitely did not. So we'll see if Logan Shuart can bounce back in 2025. Now, moving up to number 6 on our list here. And this has nothing to do with any driver on the board. This has to do with the schedule. And it's the return to Canada. How is that going to go for the Outlaws? They haven't been there since 2017. The last time they were there at Osh Weekend, Logan Shuart actually was the winner. What's the fan turnout going to be like? What's the car count going to be like? Which I think is going to be the more focused on this whole thing with Canada. I think the fans are going to come out in droves. But what is the car count going to look like? What's it going to look like trying to get teams across the border with all the since COVID, right? I mean, there's going to be some issues getting all those guys over there. But I think once they do get there, it's going to be a huge success for the Outlaws. There's going to be 1 million people there. They've been trying to get back to Canada for years. And finally, they were able to make it happen this year, going for 2 nights at Osh Weekend and 1 night at Cornwall Motor Speedway in Ontario. So looking forward to seeing how that all goes for them, but it is definitely a pretty big storyline going into this year. The Outlaws going to a new country for the first time in 8 years. Now, moving on to number 7. Another driver. We're talking about Sheldon Hoden in the 17. Can he put it all together next year? We've seen Sheldon do unbelievable things in a race car. There's no denying that he is one of the most exciting drivers in all of sprint car racing. That's why he sells so much merchandise, and that's why he's won some big races in his career, because he just does things on the racetrack that make your jaw hit the floor. But can he put it all together in 2025 and be a guy that's contending for a championship with the Outlaws? Something that his dad, his legendary father, was not able to do was win a championship with the Outlaws. Can Sheldon bring a championship back home to Wooster, Ohio? We'll have to wait and find out. But the last couple of years, I mean, he's been able to win a bunch of races, right? Winning 8, winning 9, winning 7 races. That's great. But when he finishes back in 6th in points, what was it? 6th in points? No, 5th in points this year. He was 426 points behind due to 7 DNFs in 1 year. That is the one part that has been an issue for Sheldon over the last couple of years, is trying to finish these races. And 7 DNFs, you're just not going to win a championship doing that. A lot of people have high hopes about Sheldon being an Outlaw champ at some point in his career. But with 7 DNFs, it's just not going to happen. Can he clean those up? Can he put it all together in 2025 and finally be a championship contender with the World of Outlaws? I hope it happens. I think it'd be fun to watch. I mean, the dynamic between Gravel and Sheldon, I feel like Gravel's safe, Sheldon's not. If you can have those two going at it for a championship battle, that would certainly be a lot of fun to watch. So I wish luck to Sheldon. We'll see if this is the year where he can put it all together and make something happen down the stretch in Charlotte. Now, number 8 on the list, and this one is a gimme. This is an easy one. This is one a lot of people are watching for this year. And that is going to be the rookie battle. 6 drivers, as of right now on January 27th, there are 6 drivers going for the Rookie of the Year with the Outlaws. And from what I have been told, there has never been that many drivers at the very beginning of the year to challenge for the rookie. We've got Cole Macedo in the 2C. We've got the 23 of Garrett Williamson. We've got the 55 of Hunter Schurenberg, the 99 of Skylar G, the 6 of Zach Hampton, and the 7S of Chris Windham. Those are the drivers that are going to be going for that Rookie of the Year battle this year. And I think you could have positives and negatives on all of those guys. You can have the positive of Hunter Schurenberg, right? I mean, he's been with this team before. He's won All-Star Circuit of Champions races before. But he hasn't been with the team in a couple of years. You could look at Chris Windham and say, well, he's got Jason Sides in his corner, a guy that's been on the Outlaw Tour for 15 years. But Chris, on the other side of things, has never won a 410 sprint car event with a wing on top of the car. You can look at Cole Macedo. He is coming off probably the best season of his entire career, but he's getting into a new car he's only ran 1 time in the past, right? You can look at Garrett Williamson. He's never won an Outlaw show, but he's with a team as well that he's been with for the last couple of years. There's something you could say about all these guys that you can make, that guy could do it. Well, no, he can't do it because of this, right? There is a lot of things going on here with this Rookie of the Year battle, and it could be the thing that people are most looking forward to in 2025 with the World of Outlaws. Now, number 9. I'm going to need some help with this one from the comments section. Is this the first time ever that we've seen brothers, siblings, on the World of Outlaws tour at the exact same time? I'm talking about Carson Maso and I'm talking about Cole Macedo. Because in my research, I could not find a season where brothers were on the tour at the exact same time. Kerry and Ian Madsen, nope. Dave and Dale Blaney, nope. James and PJ Chesson, no. Cannot find any times where they were on the tour at the exact same time. So this could be the first time. And I think that's a pretty interesting thing. Like, it's not going to be like a groundbreaker. Like, it's not going to be like something you're watching for each and every night. But every now and again, when these guys are battling each other in a heat race or in a dash or in the feature, Carson and Cole, that is going to be something to watch for. I mean, there might be some canceled Christmas cards out there if they get together or have any issues like that. But I think it's going to be fun to watch those two throughout the entire year. And as far as I know, this could be the very first time that we see brothers on the tour at the same time. People might be confused. Well, what about Steve and Mark? Well, they were cousins. They weren't brothers, right? So this could be. Let me know if you know. Is there another time? I could not find in my research. If you do know, let me know down in the comment section below. Now, number 10, the final thing on the list here. And this is one that I always look forward to each and every year. Because every season, there's always one. Will there be a first-time winner once again in 2025 with the World of Outlaws? Last year, it was TJ Stutz in amazing fashion at Williams Grove Speedway. Very, very unexpected win for him. 2023, there were 3 first-time winners. Corey Day, Brady Bacon, Zeb Wise. 2022, it was Anthony Macri. He won 2 in a row. Spencer Baston, 2021, he won it at Attica, right? Every single year, there's going to be a guy that wins his first ever World of Outlaws feature event. And with them going so many times to PA, with them going to California, with them going up to Canada, we've seen first-time winners in Canada as well. Could that happen again this year? And if it does, who could it be? I mean, honestly, it could be any of these rookies right here. Any of these rookie guys could win their first ever race because nope, 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 and nope. None of those guys have ever won a World of Outlaws race going into this season. So we'll have to wait and see who that first-time winner could be. There's plenty of guys to choose from, especially in Central PA and especially in California. You could never count out those California locals. We'll have to wait and see if that does come true. But those are 10 things that I think you should be paying attention to this year with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. They go green on their season next Wednesday at the Volusia Speedway Park in Barberville, Florida. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon on the Rodman Rundown.